Hypocrisy.
What's up, citizens? Welcome to Fedsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, FBI, from a small bureau in Quantico, Virginia. What's shaking, guys? How's it going? Hide your dogs. Hide your guns. Hide your free speech. Hide your bank cards. If you bank with Bank of America. Hide everything. The feds is coming for that ass. What's up, guys? How you doing? Sorry, I had my I just had these stupid glasses down here from Critical Drinker stream. He had his glasses on, and I'd just driven in. I had an appointment today. And so I was joining his stream like direct from the car, and I still had my glasses, and he had his glasses on. So I put mine on to match him. And then I figured I'd do a fun little intro. Stop it. Don't be mad. Silly chat. He never took it off since. I'm wearing a different shirt, actually. So I definitely took it off because, well, you know, it's I had to, here's the deal. Lady Ragged's cousin is getting married Saturday, and we have been trying to help get the wedding and the reception stuff like decorated and stuff, like good family, you know? We've got, trying to be helpful. And so today they wanted these, Lady Ragged keeps calling them stumps. I don't think that's quite the right word, but I don't know what other word, but it's sections of log. Is there a word for sections of log? I'm not a wood, so I don't know. But anyway, so Lady Ragged's wanted these, well, for the decorations, these sections of wood. Rounds, that's what they're called. Thank you, Dr. Bly. Rounds. I think that's actually correct. Ask Rob. Yeah, that's a good idea. Anyway, so they're not like, the logs seem longer. These are only like 6-7 inches tops. So long story short, we had a couple and they were like too narrow. They were like this, and they're supposed to hold like a vase and with shit coming out of it. And so we had some of these logs from one of her other cousins' houses, and they weren't right. But we had a downed tree that I chopped down like 2 years ago. It's just been sitting, not on the ground. It actually fell on a bunch of vines and just kind of stayed up. And so I had to do some lumberjacking today. Should we show? Like, I had to do physical labor. It's not my normal cup of tea. Oh, I did find this. This is good. So here, I'll pull this up. We have coyotes at our house all the time. And I'm always like, what the fuck, coyotes? What's your problem? And I found out what it is. I found out why the coyotes are always so loud at my house. Here we go. Graphic content warning. Here you go. So, that's Bambi. That's Bambi, the friend of coyotes. We're sitting out there, and Lady Ragged's like, there's a bunch of fur, and she's like, wow, the deer like shed a whole lot over here. And then I just turn around and there's a whole fucking corpse right next to it, and I was like, well, I mean, kinda. I guess so. No, I did not use the mini chainsaw. You can't use the mini chainsaw on this. Hold on, I'm getting a picture. The mini chainsaw is good for small branches, like 2 to 3 inches and stuff like that. Little projects. But this is, damn it. I am on Rumble, I think. Yeah, I'm on Rumble. Why are you not on Rumble? Oh, I didn't put the link in the description on YouTube. Let me do that. Edit. Full stream on Rumble. Boom. Oh shit. There. Save. Okay, now that's there on Rumble. Thank you. Thank you for that. Who started the chainsaw for? Lottie fucking da. It was me, you bastard. It's my chainsaw. I bought it, you disloyal shaster lawyer. Here we go. Let me find one of these pictures. Actually, I was going to tell the truth. Here we go. They're perfect. Oh. Can I just fucking have this? Can I just do this? Save. What a pain in the ass this is. Here we go. So my joke, which is actually the truth, was Lady Rackets started up the chainsaw and she chopped down a bunch of trees and then she handed me the chainsaw so I could look manly. There we go. There we go. But yeah, slightly different shirt. This is a button up. That's just a polo. But yeah, I was covered in fucking sawdust and stuff. But the corpses of my enemies are strewn at my feet. So I felt good. It felt good. It was fun. I don't have to do physical labor too much, but getting to do something there was nice. So good times. And I haven't used my chainsaw since last year. Do you feel like Godwinson has went full schizophrenic? I have no. Do people watch and pay attention to him? Is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. Anyway, but yeah, so that was fun. But we had to cut up those stumps because they're gonna go as decorations. So it's busy. But on that note, and this is part of why I'm telling the stories on that theme. The show's gonna be kind of short tonight. Maybe. I mean, it'll be organically long, but I'm not gonna drag it to 3 hours or anything if we're not there. I'm going to cover this constitutionality topic. It's probably going to be a 2 hour to 2.5 hour show. And I will probably not be doing locals tonight because I have to possibly get up and drive at 8 in the morning tomorrow for this wedding. So fair warning. Sorry about that. That's just this, trying to be, like I said, trying to be good family. Trying to be good family. Also, I know I haven't had this up. I'm putting it up on locals for those of you watching. Submit your What the Fuck Thursday submissions into the. I'm making a whatchamacallit, a supporter only thread for that, so you can put those in there. I should have done that earlier. My apologies for not. Still look like a mini chainsaw compared to what the Lumberjacks. Well, yeah, it's not a giant chainsaw. I don't have heavy use here. I don't have to cut down like a 4-foot diameter tree. But yeah. Rumble username says you drove after getting hammered and only having 4 hours of sleep on Friday, you coward. And it was horrible. It was a horrible hangover. I was driving like this. Ugh. God. It was awful. It was awful. Okay, so tonight, though, we're gonna hit super chats in just a second, but let me kind of lay out the agenda for tonight, the overall theme of the evening. The theme of the evening is constitutionality, the precarious nature of it, the shifting nature of it. I didn't know exactly what to call it, but the Supreme Court has issued some major rulings this week. Some of them are just, they're interesting and they kind of mold how we understand certain law, and other ones have a lot of impact and are indicative of how the court is going to look at things in the future. And then finally, some of them are downright fucking frustrating. Some of them are downright fucking frustrating. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk through that as part of this theme of the role that the court plays in determining what is constitutional. We'll start with a very mini primer on Marbury versus Madison, which is the probably considered to be the most important Supreme Court decision. And I also think it was decided wrongly and it's gay. But we'll talk about that for just a little bit in case you aren't familiar with my position on it or what the case is about or anything like that. And then we're going to jump into these topics. The topics are copyright, guns, Section 230 in regards to major media platforms and terrorism. These are all very important rulings that came out, and they, in some ways, it's a mixed bag. It's kind of a mixed bag today. Some of them are kind of okay. Other ones really fucking questionable. And then I'm also going to talk about Montana, which is the first state to fully ban TikTok. Now, I know I seem to be on the unpopular side of this argument, that people seem to think that banning TikTok is like the right thing to do or the constitutional thing to do. I think it's a horrifying precedent. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's unconstitutional. And, but we're going to talk about it. Montana has passed the law directly to ban TikTok. And the reasons for passing that law have been tried before and have failed. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Sally, I cannot grab my ankles. Not even fucking close. Not even close. But before that, we are going to hit the super chats. And I may have something else to do. Just a minute. The Dragon's Treasure says, Mr. Nick, I just wanted to let folks know that the Dragon's Treasure will be doing coffee soon. And unlike certain grifters, I'm actually roasting my own beans. Won't be available to the public until I get it down correctly. So there you guys go. If you like the tea, try the coffee. But in the meanwhile, while you wait, like any good waiting room, grab some tea from the Dragon's Treasure.com. Use promo code Dragon's Treasure is a gay to get 500% off your order. I'm just kidding. That's not true, but it would be funny if it was. So we should try that. Dougie Tats and Art. Hey, what's up, Dougie? Hi, Rackets. Could you do me a favor and do your Daryl Brooks impersonation of, but it ain't on the record, though. Ain't on the record. Judge, it ain't on the record. It ain't on the record. Do you have jurisdiction? Who's the plaintiff? Have you met the plaintiff? Is the plaintiff in the courtroom? There you go. There you go. Brad Bess says, thank you for being awesome. Well, damn. Thank you, Brad. What's up, Jesus Davila? And then Legal Layman says, hey, brother, I'll probably DM you later. Want to do a full show on the qualified immunity law article sometime? Maybe. I have to go through it still. I went through the article and can give it in shorthand. If not, fair enough, hang loose. Well, I have to read it too, and I have to do some research. I'm actually planning on doing kind of a full breakdown on it. If I can get myself to sit down at my fucking computer and read. That's kind of the plan on that one. But anyway, with that, let's oh wait, no shit. We got some locals chats here. Malik Foxon says, speaking of glasses, I look 10 times nerdier than I possibly could without them. Blue light's giving me headaches, and the eye doctor got me some glasses for when I'm on the computer, since I work at a computer, and then come home and I'm on here. At least now I can pull a Clark Kent, because I look like a completely different person when they're on. If only I had the super strength and the flying and shit, although I'd more likely end up like Hancock, but less homeless. There you go. Bad Weather Biker, congrats to Lady Rackets' family. Mrs. Bad Weather and I are celebrating 28 years on Saturday. Oh, congrats, man. 28 years is fucking awesome. Hey, what's up, Nina? What's up, Jessica? How are you guys doing? You love the Elmo voice? Well, I don't know if I'm doing that right now, but Roger the Alien says, doesn't a VPN just negate the TikTok ban law? I mean, maybe, but it's still a scary precedent. It's a scary idea. And And who knows? I don't know if a VPN effectively gets around it. I don't know if there's a penalty for trying to subvert it. Who knows where it goes from there? But anyway, okay. Let me start. Let's begin at the beginning. The literal beginning. Marbury versus Madison. A brief history of this case. Maybe I should pull up, because I never remember exactly how to describe what happened. Because what the case was about and what the case ended up being about are two different things. All right. The case has to do with whether or not the court could issue a writ of mandamus to force the executive branch to basically employ someone. All right. To actually deliver letters that said that someone was employed by the federal government, because some people were appointed right before a president left office, but their letters of their commission weren't delivered. Here we go. Let's just read. Let's read this. The case originated in early 1801 as part of the political and ideological rivalry between outgoing President John Adams and incoming President Thomas Jefferson. Adams lost the election of 1800 to Jefferson, which you know if you watched Hamilton. In March 1801, just 2 days before his term as president ended, Adams appointed several dozen Federalist Party supporters to new circuit judge and justice of the peace positions in an attempt to frustrate Jefferson and his supporters in the Southern motherfucking Democratic Republicans Party. Now, this happens now, but we transmit those appointments immediately. Now, once someone is appointed and they don't need Senate confirmation, they're in, right? Like, we live in the electronic age, but you're talking 1800s. It took time to deliver physical letters to people. So one of the big things Trump did was appoint a ton of judges, judges in the Ninth Circuit, judges at the district court level. And he put a bunch of Trump appointed judges in. That's effectively what John Adams was trying to do, but he was doing it really late in the day. So the U.S. Senate quickly confirmed Adams' appointments, but outgoing Secretary of State John Marshall was unable to deliver all of the new judges' commissions before Adams' departure and Jefferson's inauguration. Jefferson believed the undelivered commissions were void and instructed his Secretary of State, James Madison, not to deliver them. So the court was supposed to decide if they could sue to have Madison fulfill their appointments. Okay. So the holding is Section 13 of the Judiciary Act of 1789 is unconstitutional to the extent it purports to enlarge the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court beyond that permitted by the Constitution. Congress cannot pass laws that are contrary to the Constitution. It is the role of the judiciary to interpret what the Constitution permits. So the answer to the actual question, will the court force James Madison to issue these letters? The court says no. That is not in its jurisdiction. You can't sue for that. It's a separation of powers issue. No one can sue the judiciary to make the executive branch do something that the executive branch does. All right. So they say no. They say that Section 13 of the Judiciary Act is unconstitutional if it is supposed to give power over the executive in that way. But what they do next is this is the lingering aspect of this. What they do next is they just say, by the way, we're the motherfucking court. We're the motherfucking Supreme Court. And the line from the case, the critical line is, we say what the law is. And so the court says you can't unconstitutionally expand the court's power. And in doing so, they expand the court's power beyond what's written in Article 3 to now say that they are a constitutional check. That's not there. There is nothing there where the court gets to determine the enduring constitutionality of any law, statute, or act of the state. But the court takes it. The court takes it. It's just like, mine, our power, fuck you. Fuck you. And it has persisted ever since. All of these decisions, every decision that is made right now, today, or that we're going to talk about today, these all stem from Marbury versus Madison. I did a video on why I hate Marbury versus Madison a long time ago. It was my first full-length, or my first recorded video that didn't have anything to do with a case. It's about 45 minutes long. If you really care, you can look it up. Most of you probably shouldn't bother. It was, God, young rackets. It would be terrible to watch it now. Oh man, bad microphone, bad camera. Better looking me, but who knows? So anyway, that's kind of the background of how the Supreme Court functions in the way that it does. And it's really weird to consider that the court went beyond its power to say that none of the branches can go beyond their power, including the court. But that's the, that's the holding. Good job. Unfortunately, Canadian says, hey, Nick, my friend Josh needs to lose some weight, and he gave me permission to ask for a fat shaming on his behalf. You know what to do. Don't let my gelatinous friend get off easy. Gelatinous friend get off easy? I assume that pile of fucking blubber can't even get off. Has he even seen his penis in the past decade? Hiding under just mountains of pudding, jello, and fetid tissue. It's disgusting fried chicken skin underwear that he wears down there because he dropped some off of the 38-pound mutant chicken that he had to shove into his gullet. Your disgusting, fat, pathetic friend. I wouldn't want him to cry. It'd be like the water running down a fucking mountain after a rainstorm in the tropics. Probably end up in some pit too. Become disgusting, grow algae. Of course, maybe if a tree grew on him, he'd realize he was the size of the fucking earth and get some weight loss going. Stand up, Josh. Walk around, you piece of shit. Okay, there you go. Hope that helps. All right, here we go. So that's that. So with that, let's get to the Supreme Court stuff. God damn it. We're going to start with anger. So there's an ongoing battle in Illinois. I don't know if you guys have followed this. I've made a few videos on it. If you're not following it, you probably should. It's really, really critical. It's really, really critical to your Second Amendment rights and to the scope of the nation. Illinois has decided that it will just ban the sale of quote unquote assault weapons. Okay. I mean, I read shall not be infringed, right? What is it? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The rights of the people shall not be infringed, right? Pretty fucking simple. Shall not be infringed seems pretty fucking straightforward. Or the right of the people to keep and bear arms, I should say. I left out the keeping and bearing of arms. It's kind of part of it that matters. But anyway, so the idea is, there's well-regulated militia is necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. No law, nothing, no act can infringe that right. And yet, it seems to me that banning the sale of certain arms, any arms, honestly, infringes on that right. Now, are constitutional rights absolutes? I want to say they should be. I do want to say they should be, but they're not considered to be. The question is, how much do we have to do under the court's analysis to find something to be unconstitutional? How far? And they develop these different tests. Levels of scrutiny is what they're called. But levels of scrutiny. You have a rational basis test, you have intermediate scrutiny, and you have strict scrutiny. Now, they have never determined what level of scrutiny is necessary for the Second Amendment, although we're closer to it. They've kind of developed a new scrutiny standard under Bruin. Bruin was the most recent Second Amendment case. It came out of New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. And the long story short is that any purported regulation on arms must comply with the traditional and historical regulations in place at the time that the Second Amendment was adopted. The answer to that is there are fucking none. There are none. You have to cite to tradition. You have to cite to history. And there just wasn't regulation on firearms, on cannons, on boats, on anything, on swords, knives. None of this stuff had that regulation. None of it. So we've got a problem in that all laws impacting this should be presumptively unlawful. Now, is the court going to actually uphold that standard? I doubt they will, but I hope they do. But that's the idea. So along comes Illinois, and Illinois decides to ban assault weapons, whatever assault weapons even fucking are. And we'll get to that in just a second. I got some big super chats here to take care of. Thank you so much. Magnum Norse says Blizzo was recently spotted in the Nile River. That fish was eating crocodiles and salmon. She finally was subdued by a random dude with a chocolate eclair on top of a glazed donut. It's clearly the cracker's fault. Gross. That's horrifying. Thank you. Retired Geek, Viva and Blair White on earlier, and the haters came out like moths to a flame. Okay. Or Viva had Blair White. Wait, why do they hate Blair White? Was the hate because Blair White is like a trans, or was the hate because Blair White is like a bigot? What is it? Abomi Nation says, hey, Nick, been thinking of losing weight after I flattened my scale like a pancake. Yum. But still got vices. So I'm wondering if a fat shame would help. If you could help a fat engineer out, thanks. Help a fat engineer out. Has anyone ever helped a fat engineer out of anything? You can design anything except just a basic diet of nothing. Like, why is this so hard? Just leave the blueprint empty, homie. You don't even have to get out your stupid protractor. And that's probably good, because I know every time you look at that protractor, you think hamburger, you fat fuck. You giant piece of shit. You're sitting there, you're like, doing angles like, I hope there's bacon on these angles. Aioli. You disgusting, heaving pile of trash. Do not eat any more. Your diet should be a null proposition. That's it. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I don't want to smell your fat anymore. Let it go. Let it go. I'm tired of buttering the door. Okay, now fuck off, fatty. Slaughter Paws. My mother died recently, leaving behind myself and my 3 siblings, the 2 youngest being 11 and 13. Holy shit. We have a GoFundMe set up if anyone could donate. Wow. There's a GoFundMe for Slaughter Paws. Share it in all of the chats. You guys can check that out if you feel compelled to assist with that. Please consider doing so. There you go. All right. Oh, shit. Jessica Reloaded says, say hello to Waifu Kron and Chandler. We're currently having a watch party together. Oh, hi, ladies. How are you? Waifu Kron will be on this Friday. Tomorrow. Waifu Kron will be on the show tomorrow, along with some other guests. So we'll get to, if you have not met Waifu Kron, you'll get to meet her tomorrow. It should be fun times. All right. Back to it. So anyway, Illinois decides to ban the sale of quote unquote assault weapons. And there was a little sort of snafu in the court where the lower court said, yeah, we're gonna uphold the ban. And so then it gets appealed to the appeals court, and I think they just had to try to get a preliminary injunction on the law taking place. That's what they did. Yeah, they tried to get an injunction on the law taking place, and the lower court said, nah. Or no, my bad. The lower court said, yeah, we will. I'm fucking this up badly, but the lower court says, yes, we will put the injunction on. The law is actually paused. It will not take effect. And it will not take effect until, the court case is decided. We got to decide if this is even constitutional. Then the appeals court came in and said, hold on, fuck off, homie. We're not actually going to enjoin this law. And the appeals court then lets the law go into full effect. Now, there's this awkward period of like 3 or 4 days between these two decisions where it was technically legal to buy assault weapons in Illinois, and a bunch of people did. But now we've got a fucking problem, because now that the appeals court has come in and said that they did, that the law is not enjoined, the law goes into effect. And the law has the effect of stopping the sale of these rifles before the injunction occurred. So any of those guns bought in that period are technically unlawful, even though it was legal to buy them, according to Chicago law enforcement. Now, law enforcement gets the law right about as often as Lizzo eats a vegetable. So that being said, though, their posture towards these guns is that these are unlawfully purchased firearms. This is a fucking insane proposition, because the law was suspended. People went and bought them. Having them does not make them somehow not legal. That's fucking crazy. And it'll be interesting to see them enforce it. But if you are in Illinois and you happen to be one of the people who bought one of those guns in that window, be very, very careful. Do not talk to anybody about it at all. You may want to lose it in a lake, or send it to someone in another state or something. I don't even know what you're supposed to do. Actually, this isn't legal advice. You might be fucked. You might be fucked, mate. So, now we're in a legal wrangling, and they sent this to the Supreme Court. Now, what you would expect the Supreme Court takes a limited number of cases per year, right? They take a very limited number of cases per year. And it's going to take a bit for this underlying case to get resolved and appealed and potentially go to the Supreme Court. All the Supreme Court has to do here is enjoin the law from taking effect until the lower court reaches its decision. That's it. That's all they have to do. The Supreme Court takes several First Amendment cases a year. They take sometimes dozens of Fifth Amendment cases and Fourth Amendment cases. They take tons of cases from all sorts of amendments, except the second. The second is this bastardized amendment that has had basically 5 cases, I think, since 1900. Since 1900, there have been maybe 5 serious Supreme Court cases that affect the constitutionality of keeping and bearing arms. You have Miller, U.S. v. Miller, which is a tragedy. That's the first one in 1939. You have D.C. versus Heller is basically the next one. You have McDonald, which is D.C. versus Heller is in 2008. McDonald's in 2010. And then you really have New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. So I guess it's really 4. And so we would hope that the Supreme Court would, just make a ruling that's consistent with their fucking opinion in Bruin. And they didn't. They just completely fucking cucked on it. They just decided to kick the fucking can down the road. Now it is illegal to buy whatever an assault weapon is in Illinois, despite the fact that there's basically no way that this law can comply with Bruin. It's just, it's inconceivable. It doesn't make any sense. Let's read the fucking article. The Supreme Court refused to block a local and state ban on assault weapon sales in Illinois. Now, there's like 4 cases in Illinois, and I believe they were all just aggregated together. So, rejecting an emergency request from gun rights advocates and a gun store. A vote count was not disclosed, and the court did not explain its action. Wednesday's move by the High Court is the latest example of the justices staying out of Second Amendment-related disputes for the moment. Stop staying out of the fucking dispute and just define the goddamn law. They don't stay out of any other disputes. It's just the Second Amendment, and it's crazy. They have a clearly articulated standard in Bruin that it is almost impossible to meet, implying that almost all gun restrictions are presumptively unconstitutional. And you need a really, really fucking good reason and some historical background to do it. Does it mean that you have to have a nationwide ban on guns of some sort to have prior to the adoption of the Second Amendment to do this? No. But you could have a state tradition of banning some type of gun, banning certain types of firearms or whatever. You could do that. Like, you could maybe find a state that had some restriction on certain people or anything. One of the best examples of a historical tradition would be felons. Felons lose a lot of rights. Now, did felons specifically lose gun rights in 1791 when the Second Amendment was adopted? I don't know that they did. Maybe they did. I don't know that they specifically lost their right to a gun at that point, but the idea that felons have lost significant rights over and over, that those rights are taken away from them at least during the pendency of their incarceration or punishment, at least for that point, is something that's in the historical tradition of the United States. That goes all the way back. If nothing else, you lose your liberty. You lose property all the time when you're a felon to the state. Some things are forfeited to the state, whatever. Sometimes it's a fine. Anything used in a criminal act is forfeited to the state. So there is some level of historical tradition on something like that. So you could maybe say, yeah, people could construct the law saying that if you're a felon, you lose gun. We have this already. This is already there, right? Like, this is either from it's either from the National Firearms Act or the Gun Control Act. I don't remember which one, but it's there. That could probably stay. Now, I don't know if it should apply to felons who are done serving time and done with their parole. Like, if you have your whatchamacallit, your finish out your sentence of 2 years or whatever, and then you have supervised probation for 5 years, and then you're done. So your 7 years of being monitored by the state is over. I don't know that you could sustain removing guns at that point from that point on, but that's a different question. That hasn't been challenged yet, but it's coming. But we have this problem, though. The Supreme Court said in Bruin that this type of legislation would be held up to a certain standard. Just on its face, it does not meet it. It does not meet it at all. Let's see what CNN said. God, I hate CNN. I hope they catch fire. In Minecraft, the justice's refusal to intervene in the Illinois case also comes while communities in several states are reeling from mass shootings, including in some places in attacks carried out with AR-15 style weapons, which are covered by the Illinois law. Just ignore the fact that the overwhelming majority of gun violence is a handgun. Like, this is insane. This is insane. They always want to go, like, it's always assault weapons, which I know assault weapons are not real, right? I know that that's not a thing. It's a very nebulous thing, but just think, here's what they mean when they say assault weapons for the sake of simplicity when discussing the topic in safe places, because do not let them go. Hold them to a standard. What is an assault weapon? Can you define it? What they mean is the scary rifle called an AR-15 and an AK-47. Those are the only two rifles that they think exist. These people have no idea anything about guns, and any gun that looks like any of those to them at all is one of those two guns. That's all they know. That's enough because they saw it on some movie or something. But that's it. That's what they mean. But these are actually rarely used to commit gun violence. The most common thing is a handgun. But they always target these. They know DC versus Heller. They would have a big fucking problem targeting handguns, but that's what they got. So here we go. According to a brief filed by Naperville, which passed the local ban, whether, quote, the Second Amendment protects the commercial sale of a limited category of assault rifles within one municipality's border has never been addressed by this court. Here we have a problem. Homie, if it's never been addressed by the court, where's your historical tradition? Where is your historical tradition? You don't have any test of this. So where are you going to point to? The gun rights advocates had asked for the law to be placed on hold while appeals in a challenge they brought to the ban's play on at lower courts. They argued those courts have ignored last year's landmark Supreme Court ruling that expanded Second Amendment rights. Since the Second Amendment presumptively protects plaintiffs' conduct, respondents must justify the challenge laws by demonstrating they are consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. This is what we were talking about. This is a perfect argument to the new application with the court said. But it doesn't, they haven't done that, and the Supreme Court hasn't weighed that out, and they can't. They can't. Magnum North says, damn, cuz, why you got to do them like that? Oh, that was to the fat that we were shaming. And James Garter says, have a sip and take a bit of acid in honor of Dick Masterson and Back.by. Wait, what happened to Back.by? No, Back.by is still there. Holy shit. You freaked me out. I'm like, Back.by can't really be taken down. What the fuck? Whew. Okay. Yeah, I'll have a little sip. Yeah, if you guys don't know, my good friend, compatriot, and homie, full homo, Dick Masterson, had his channel yeeted from YouTube. The Dick Show has been removed from YouTube. So we're going to pour one out for our dead homie. Hopefully Dick will come on Friday and talk about it. Well, let's do this first. To the Dick Show, the most false advertising I've ever seen, because not a single penis exists in that recording studio or on any videos they've ever done. May you rest in peace, sweet prince. YouTube is done what Maddox never could. All right. The speculation on the removal of the Dick Show, the speculation is that it has to do with Tess Holliday, who's so fucking fat, she's in every chat room that exists. And apparently she was bullied by the Dick Show, despite the fact that you cannot bully Tess Holliday with a fucking battering ram. It's impossible. There's too much ablative plating on that thing to get past. You can't damage it. It's like the Blob in X-Men. Nothing moves the Tess. Have you guys ever seen those arms? Her biceps and her forearms split her elbow like a wishbone and ate it. Oh God, it's awful. So anyway, yeah, hopefully Dick can come on and talk about it on Friday. It's just a fucking shame. Like, she's a celebrity. Why can't we make fun of a celebrity? The biggest problem channel is still up. The biggest problem channel is still up. So that's a different entity. As far as I know, that should be fine. So long as they don't like try posting the dick show to the biggest problem, that would be a mistake. But yeah. All right. Nintendo Power. But James Carter, take a bit of acid? No. Nintendo Power says, what effect do you think Cargill versus Garland will have on Matt Hoover's case? If a bump stock isn't considered a machine gun or part, how the fuck can a business card be considered one when there isn't even a cutout on it? Yeah, that'll be a question. Like, is Cargill versus Garland decided yet? I don't think it is. I don't think that's decided yet. I might be mistaken on that, but yeah, I mean, your logic is sound. I can't remember what the thing's called. It's not called an auto seal, a lightning link or whatever. I don't see how that could be a firearm. It legitimately cannot be a firearm. But, you know, the ATF. But that's, you know, that's Chevron deference, baby. We got to find out who gets to define the terms. All right, anyway. But yes, I do think that that's critical, because if the court decides that the ATF doesn't get to just call single inanimate objects, that I shouldn't say inanimate because guns are inanimate, but these objects that are not guns cannot be a firearm. Like, this seems like the most obvious conclusion possible. Like, it's like, this is a firearm. It doesn't do what a firearm does. It doesn't go pew, pew, pew. There's no shooting that happens. It's impossible for this to do the thing that a firearm does. How could the government regulate it? But under the current interpretation, ATF could say, hey, a lower shittily painted soul drinker's torso is a firearm by our definition, because we say so, and then it would hold. That's where we're currently at with these things. And it's fucking unreal that is the literal truth. That's not satire. That's not an irony tag. That's nothing other than a fact that if the government, specifically the ATF, defines anything as a firearm, then it is. Firearm? Firearm? What isn't a firearm? How can you have a limit? How can you have a limit? At least a completed lower receiver has moving parts. At least it has parts that come close to making it into a firearm. I disagree that a lower receiver is a firearm, but at least you can say, okay, well, like, you put on an upper, a barrel, a stock if you want, and you fitted a trigger and you got a firearm, right? At least you could say that. But if it goes this far, it's literally just whatever the ATF deems. What if they wanted to ban something else that they couldn't ban? They just call it a firearm. It's insane. It's insane. I hate this shit. It's fucking unreal. How do we get past this? I don't know, but we need the court to act, and they're not. They're just abdicating their responsibility left and fucking right. Quote, but because the banned arms are commonly possessed by law-abiding citizens for lawful purposes, it is impossible for respondents to carry their burden under Heller and Bruin. The reason for this is apparent from Heller and Bruin themselves. There is no historical analog to such a ban. 2022 Bruin decision instructed that lower courts look to the gun regulations that were in effect during the Constitution's framing to decide whether current gun law violates the Second Amendment. The defenders of the assault weapons ban countered that the challengers had failed to meet the procedural threshold for an emergency action from the Supreme Court. If this is the only answer, fine, but also fucking gay. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Rowell, look, if this is your attorney general's name, I don't know how to say it, but you've got a fucking problem. And maybe that's bigoted, but I don't care anymore. I just don't give a shit. Wrote in his court briefs that the types of firearms targeted by the state's prohibitions fell outside of the Second Amendment's protections for firearms that are commonly used for self-defense. The Second Amendment, can I get a chorus of people saying the Second Amendment has no necessary inclusion of a purpose for firearms? That is a misread of Heller. The Second Amendment. Why do we need firearms? Oh, for self-defense? No, fuck you. Stop saying that. It's not for hunting. It's for self-defense. No, stop it. It's for defense from tyrants. No, stop it. Do you know why we have a God-given fucking right to guns? Because we have a God-given fucking right to guns, period. The government does not get to take them away. Not because we need self-defense or we need national defense or we need protection from tyranny or hunting or sport shooting or anything. No, the answer is fuck you. That's my name. You do not get to take my things. Period, period, period. It says so on the goddamn promise of me being a citizen. That's the only answer. That's it. And for anyone who wants to bring up the well-regulated militia preamble, the well-regulated militia has zero to do with firearm or any other armed possession. The preamble just says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. That is a prefatory clause. It is not the operative clause of the sentence. It has nothing to do with the right to keep and bear arms. Scalia laid this out in Heller very clearly. They brought in tons of experts on English, from 18th century English experts to 19th century English experts to modern English experts. Everybody broke this fucking thing down, and the court determined that that prefatory clause has no bearing on the operative language of the Second Amendment. They're two separate concepts. And logically, when you look at it, you cannot come to the conclusion that the second one relies on or is influenced by the first one, because it doesn't make any sense. Because the state and the people are terms of art, and the state and the people are not congruent. They're not the same thing. So well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. There you go. The only thing you can draw from that is, well, a well-regulated militia is necessary. So therefore, everybody should be able to have firearms so that we have a well-regulated militia, but that doesn't make any sense. There's no because, there's no dependent on, there's no dependent phrase. There's no dependent terminology. There's nothing other than the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, period. And it would do us well to fucking remember that and to stop capitulating to these excuses that we have accepted. And one of the worst purveyors of those excuses is the NRA. The NRA has been the enemy of the Second Amendment for a very long time. And I'm fucking tired of people pretending that the NRA is a useful organization. Great. They protected some gun rights a long time ago somewhere. Thanks. They also have said stuff like, oh, well, video games are bad. We need to ban those, not guns. That's stupid, by the way. Violent movies. Well, guns are for self-defense and defense from tyranny. No, stop making excuses. Stop making reasons. Stop granting categories. Because if you make a category like, well, guns are for self-defense, then you get this fucking faggot argument from Illinois that says these are not commonly used in self-defense. Or if you say guns are for an insurance against tyranny, you go, well, these aren't the type of guns that stop tyranny, or any gun can stop tyranny. Why is it this specific type of semi-automatic rifle that needs to be there to stop tyranny? You could use other guns to stop tyranny. Any gun is, any gun in every home is terrifying to the politicians. Not this particular gun. This particular gun isn't scary. It doesn't do enough, actually. So we're going to ban it because it's not actually particularly an anti-tyrant gun, because it doesn't go through 8 layers of fucking insider trading before it hits a politician. So it can't be used to defend you from the state. This gun doesn't kill IRS agents, or whatever weird thing they want to come up with, whatever stupid, shady fucking argument they want to use to pretend that the qualification that we all just capitulated to with a dick in our mouth is fine. They're not fine. Our rights exist because they are inherent. They are inherent in you by your birth. Not even your birth as an American. Your birth. We recognize the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Not the natural born citizens, not the Americans who were born here, but they weren't born. Everybody's born with the right. The U.S. just recognizes the right. It doesn't grant it. It doesn't bestow it. It doesn't create it. It doesn't sculpt it out of some narrow line of exceptions. No, the right is in you by the merit of your existence, period. It doesn't need an excuse. It predates excuses. It's not the right to protect your ability to live. No, Spacey, no. No, this is the problem. We keep trying to have I like your definition, but it's like you're adding nuance where nuance doesn't exist. Look, a watermelon is a watermelon. I don't need a watermelon that's cut in half. I need a seedless watermelon. I don't need a watermelon that tastes good, a watermelon that tastes bad. It's just a watermelon. It's just a fucking watermelon. There's nothing else. It's just a goddamn watermelon. Not a watermelon that's cored out and mixed up with fruit. Not a watermelon with salt on it. Not a watermelon that with a thin rind. Not a watermelon with no rind. Not a watermelon cube or chunk or piece or fragment. It's just a fucking watermelon. There's nothing else to it. An apple is a goddamn apple. Your right to keep and bear arms is just your right to keep and bear arms. It is not your right to self-defense. It is not your right to national protection. It is not your right to secure your home and family. It is not your right to secure food for your family. It is not your right to turn off the TV in a cool way. It is not your right to skeet shoot. It is not your right to sport shoot. It is not your right to speed shoot. It is not your right to quick draw. It is not your right to go out and have fun. It is not your right to mount on your vehicle. It is just your right to have, period. There is nothing else. Do not ever put a fucking qualification on it. We have done this forever as Americans. Your right to free speech is, well, your right to political speech or commercial speech or just casual speech. No, free speech, motherfucker. Do you speak it? There isn't a thing. There isn't a qualification. There isn't an okay and this. No, stop giving them arguments. The only time you don't have a right is when you have forfeited it by your intentional actions that are then prosecuted under all applicable criminal procedure until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by a jury. That's it. This is the only time you lose your rights. And if we say, well, you know, mentally unstable people, I don't know if they want guns. Stop. I just don't know if I want someone on drugs to be able to get guns. Stop. Because today it's drugs, tomorrow it's Call of Duty. And if you think I'm fucking kidding you, I am not fucking kidding you. Today it's drugs, tomorrow it's Call of Duty, next it's the Republican Party. Today it's drugs, tomorrow it's Call of Duty, next it's a book that complains about taxes on your shelf. Today it's drugs. The next day it's antidepressants. And the next day it's supplements. It's an herbal supplement to make you feel good. Any excuse is every excuse. Stop giving them ammunition. Stop giving ground. There is no ground to give. Liberty is liberty. Liberty is not subject to exceptions. Okay. All right. Okay, so the Court of Appeals will hear arguments on that case on June 29th. And we'll see if their argument stands at the Court of Appeals level. It will then be, of course, it will go up to the Supreme Court after that. No matter what, it will be appealed to the Supreme Court. Based in domestic terrorist. When anyone's a domestic terrorist who has not committed a terrorist act, everyone's a domestic terrorist. You're one statement on Twitter away from domestic terrorism. You're one joke about Proud Boys away from domestic terrorism. You're one retweet by Gavin McInnes from being a domestic terrorist. We have to wrangle the state. The Supreme Court has to help us wrangle the state. Nintendo Power says, I think ATF went after a guy who fitted a 10-inch dildo with a pistol grip and a buttstock for non-registry of an SBR, short-barreled rifle. Saw something like that on 4chan. Maybe he should have used a 12-inch dildo, though. Right? Oh, wait, you need a 16-inch barrel, don't you? Holy fuck. Shit, that's a big dildo. Marcus Squintus, welcome to Super Lawyer Status. Thank you. Earbuds in the Kitchen, welcome to Super Lawyer Status. Thank you so much for that. Marcus Squintus says, during my copping days, a local politic asked why I was pro-Second Amendment. So pro-Second Amendment. I responded by simply saying, someday you will call 911 and I won't be able to get to you. You're on your own. The summer of 2020 proved that. He also says, the state of Minnesota is really making it difficult to want to move back to my beloved home state. I guess I'll just have to remain content looking across the river while I live in Fargo, North Dakota. Marcus, do not come back here. Come visit. Do not come back here. I'm closer than ever to moving. I'm so close to thinking it might actually happen at some point. All right. I wanted to get that one out of the way. Jeff Dane says, I hear you, but what about the notion that no right is absolute? We have accepted that no right is absolute. However, the infringements on rights are curtailed by scrutiny. And again, our speech rights, we have given so much ground on. But there is a limit where your right does interfere with someone else's right. That's what the statement actually means. My right to free movement, to walk in any direction I want, ends at your yard, at your property line. I cannot come on there without your permission. That's as simple as it can be. My right to swing my arms around stops when my arm hits your face. Frederick Little, yeah, there's a bunch, but I don't know them off the top of my head, and I got to check schedules. All right. With that, hey, is Cedar Rose in here? What's up, Cedar Rose? How you doing, girl? Speaking of rights, you have the right to something very, very important. You have the right to a well-balanced daily diet, and you have the right to do so by drinking your fucking Field of Greens. Fieldofgreens.com. Promo code KNOWS is how you get access to Field of Greens, pure organic superfood. Look, it's really simple, guys. Water, your Field of Greens superfood. You open this. Very simple instruction. You take your scoop, you scoop it out, and you put it in the water. And then you shake it up. And then you drink it. That's a full serving of fruit and a full serving of vegetables. There's no bullshit additives. There's no crazy things. There's no extracts of vegetables. It's just literally dried up, ground up fruits and vegetables. That's it. Each one of these babies, one serving each, one of fruit, one of vegetables. Because if you're like me, you don't eat fruits and vegetables during the day most of the time. Just eat meat. Because I don't have time to cook a bunch of other shit. So you just take it and you drink it. It's that simple. And this is lemon lime. I started out not liking it. I like it now. But if you don't like it, just add vodka to it. Someone asked me if I would do a Field of Greens Arita or whatever with margarita mix, vodka, and Field of Greens. Yes, I just have to go get some vodka and some margarita mix. We'll do it. We'll do it. But fieldofgreens.com, promo code KNOWS. Use it. Support your degeneracy with it by mixing it with alcohol. It doesn't matter. Get those greens into your body. It's just the building blocks of a healthy diet. Not for weight loss, not for like an exercise plan or anything like that. Just general overall health. They have all sorts of cool guarantees that you can check out as far as like if you don't get healthier, you can get money back or something like that by going to your doctor and seeing if your health numbers improve. But you'll have to check with them on that. I don't know the details. I'm not their lawyer. I'm just their ad guy saying, hey, I like it. I drink it all the time. It's good. You should try it out sometime, but use promo code KNOWS. Save yourself a couple bucks when you do so. Everybody who reports back to me on it likes it. I don't know. Find your flavor. Enjoy it. Fieldofgreens.com, promo code KNOWS. Frederick Little, I just answered if there were any upcoming court cases. I just did. I said yes, but I don't know the names and I have to check schedules, so I'm not sure. But yeah, there's a couple that people have mentioned to me that I am interested in. Like Taylor Business, for example, and the suitcase person. All right, we're going to go to the Rumble in just a minute, but I'm going to read the rest of the YouTube super chats. We'll go to Rumble then. Freedom Cherie says, I seriously just fell in love with you. Oh, thank you, Freedom Cherie. I just fell in love with me too. And also you. Anders has a WTF Wednesday thing. I'm going to save that one. I see your super chat, brother. I'm not trying to skip it. It's just, I'll save it for that segment. Angie, I've seen that. Thank you. Uriah of the House Right says, rip Bambi. She'll seek her mother in hell. Grifty says, make it funny, Shaster. I'm burning the midnight oil trying to get these damn centerpieces stained for the wedding. F do-it-yourself weddings. Wait, what? You're working on a wedding too? Shit. Tony 96049 says you should talk to actual justice warrior if you can. He supports qualified immunity and the cops a lot in general. It would be a good conversation. Oh, he supports qualified immunity? Why? I can't do it. Cult of Personality says, what was SCOTUS's purposes prior to Marbury versus Madison? SCOTUS has tons of purposes. Supreme Court has original jurisdiction over admiralty cases. It has original jurisdiction over cases, conflicts between states, between conflicts of one state to another state, or a citizen of one state to another state, to the state itself, not to another citizen, conflicts between citizens of the United States as well as foreign entities, state to state conflicts. Like, it has original jurisdiction on these things. It's just literally a regular court at that point. You go in, you make an evidentiary case and you do it because they have original jurisdiction. They have appellate jurisdiction over other things. Appellate jurisdiction gives them the ability to have the final ruling on any lower court case. But why that final ruling is binding precedent, that's Marbury versus Madison. Why they're able to take a law that was passed and say, nope, this law goes against the Constitution, that's Marbury versus Madison. Why the Supreme Court can effectively make a constitutional amendment out of nothing, that's Marbury versus Madison. And that's what they did in Marbury versus Madison. Because that's not an Article 3. So that's what their purpose prior to Marbury, though, is to hear cases. I mean, just like any other court. But it doesn't have jurisdiction over Darrell Brooks, to be very clear. Unfortunately, Canadian says, thanks, Nick. He's dead. Oh, good. Good. Because he was fat. Now he's dead. He's better off. He's on a quick track to the weight loss program. Bad Dragonite says, if you're really manly, you'd use a Bowie knife. Dude, I love Bowie knives. Not David Bowie. Was it John Bowie? James? Fuck. Yeah, it's James Bowie. Jim Bowie. He was my fucking hero as a kid. And then I went to the Alamo several years ago with my family, and they had a whole Jim Bowie like exhibit, and I read about his life, and he was hilarious. Magnum North says, I shoot at the range in Illinois. Ooh, good luck to you, brother. Christopher Peak, don't forget Heller ruling on arms in common use. Correct. But I don't like Heller. I thought Heller was way too limiting. Magnum North says, boating accident. Laughy face. Stephen Ferguson says, does Roberts decide what cases to hear? No, each judge is assigned to a region. And that judge is the one that judge will decide whether or not to bring it to the court, and then the court will decide together whether they'll hear cases. But individual judges can put injunctions and stuff on, individual judges get to do something. Maybe it's just that recommendation to the whole court, but they can actually just turn stuff down too. Bob Charles says assault weapon is a nebulous political term. Assault rifle is a U.S. military term. And under that definition, the AR-15 does not qualify because it's semi-auto. Yes, correct. Assault rifle means a select fire rifle, very specifically. If I'm not mistaken, there may be other classifications. I do not profess to be a gun expert, a gun guy. Like, I like guns. They're cool. I like to shoot them. I have a fun time with them. But if you want to know like specifics about them, or like be a hobbyist about them or whatever, I'm not your guy. It's not my thing. There are way better people out there. I know that I point it and it goes boom, boom. And I like that. All right, here we go. Aisha Frazier says, last time I'll be viewing live for a couple weeks. Mom and I are going to Israel tomorrow. I'll miss you in the hilarious chat. Oh, enjoy Israel, Aisha Frazier. I really want to go sometime to see my people, but have fun. Report back. Let me know when you get back. I'd love to know that you're safe and everything went well, and that everything was, they had a fun time. Tony 96049 said, I had family visit from Mexico. Took them out to the range tonight and they loved it. They wanted to move because of how much they enjoyed it. Guns are awesome, man. Monk in Training says Republicans are feckless with freedom because conservatives are like them. If the people don't want to be free, they won't. A series of bats says it will end up being gun owners who will be classified as assault weapons. Then that banning begins. Yep. The Ava Blink, I feel like the court needs a did I fucking stutter. They do, and they won't use it ever. Bad Dragonite says we should start calling it the right to free arms. He also says, where the fuck is our right to free melons? That's a good question. Lefty Lulls says, nobody wants any part of Minnesota. Stay away. Far away. Jack Riley says, don't forget to read the Monday chats. Yeah, I'm not going to read them on YouTube, though, because we're already an hour 15 over, or hour 15 in, and we're going to go to Rumble. Steve Ferguson says, top 5 states you theoretically move to and why? Tennessee, Florida, Texas, Nevada, because they don't have state income tax. And then I don't know. Somewhere south because it's warmer than here. That's about it. But wherever it is, I won't be in a damn city. Grifty, yeah, brother. Finalized the divorce on the practice run after 4 years of court. Married forever on July 1st. Still planning the bachelor party stream. Oh, yeah. That's right. The bachelor party stream. I forgot about that. I mean, I remember now that you mention it, I remember it saying, yeah, I'd love to come on. That's true. My brain was just broken because since I have a wedding on Saturday, not mine, but my wife's cousin, I thought like you were making a joke about that. And I was just fucking mixed up. So I got it. Yes. Now I remember. Jacob Reed, welcome to Paralegal Status. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me on YouTube. We are going over to Rumble exclusively right now. There's a 20-second little break between that. If you want to follow over on Rumble, please do so. And when you do so, you can do it by clicking on the link in the description on YouTube. If you have not checked out Rumble in a long time, go check it out. The experience is getting better and better. And look, they started 12 years after YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that. They're making big strides to catch up. They're growing like crazy. They're signing huge people. Give them a shot. Most importantly, free fucking speech on Rumble. So come check it out. That's where the rest of the show will be. If you do not want to pop over to Rumble, I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the Friday show. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen,